it was kind of, you know, on the cards, wasn't it, as we woke up this morning? A few of the hints were being dropped, and indeed the Prime Minister herself kind of laying blame at the door of the Chancellor yesterday for all of that. Oscar, thoughts this morning?
I think I'm quite surprised the U-turns happen in some ways. I thought what they would do a softer U-turn, and they bring forward the OBR report. They do some kind of... they get their messaging together, and they would kind of go about it that way and maybe actually delay the vote on this. But no, it's a pretty screeching one. I think the language and the statement that's just come out from Kwasi is actually pretty good under really horrifically difficult circumstances, and it's the only way you can play it in a way. Is that, look, like, this is where we were at with this, but we have listened, and we understand that it is a distraction from some of the other good policies that we announced. And I think that's the only way you could try and sell this. I think that is... I don't want to be too kind of... It's really easy to kind of jump down people's throats on stuff like this. I think the supply-side reforms that are to come, in terms of... And people hear that and they go, well, what the hell, you know, what does that mean to me? But that's actually about making life easier for people. It's kind of freeing up regulation. It's about, you know, that will affect infrastructure, transport, childcare, all those things. I think if in his speech today he can kind of get through it and kind of centre on the more positive aspects of the mini-budget, maybe you can scrape through this, I think. And just really quickly, the public generally, polling suggests they don't mind a U-turn. They don't mind a U-turn.
They just want to see their mortgages go down.
They just want results and delivery.
Yeah. But of course, all we've heard over the weekend, Dawn, is stay the course, stay the course, stay the course.
The lady is not for turning.
And now we've turned.
This is, as Oscar said, it's an absolute screeching U-turn, isn't it? And one of the stories we were going to talk about was the Mirror story. Gone by Christmas is the headline. And they were referring to Liz Truss. I don't think it'd be Liz Truss gone by Christmas. I think there will need to be a sacrificial lamb to sort this mess out, and I think it will be Kwasi Kwarteng, and I think the only way now that they are going to save face is to get rid of him. And if I was him yesterday and Liz Truss gave that interview saying, well, it wasn't my idea, it's Chancellor's idea, you would have known then that your cards were marked. Yeah. I mean, literally, Isabel, within, like, you know, just over a week of that announcement, the mini-budget, she's suddenly throwing you under the bus. I mean, the last thing they should be doing now is turning on one another. Now is the time to be united, surely.
It's fascinating to me what was the straw that broke the camel's back, as it were, because you've had all of this upset. You've had, you know, the markets going crazy, the pound tanking, the Bank of England intervening, mortgage rates going up, people in absolute panic. But this amazing intervention on energy bills being cancelled out by the fact that people's mortgages were, in some cases, doubling or whatever else it is. But it's perhaps the intervention of somebody like Michael Gove and the press that he has garnered overnight and the pressure from within that has finally caused the U-turn. And do you think that's a fair assessment?
I do. I mean, I think, you know, what is so difficult when you're Prime Minister is you have so many stakeholders. And this is, I think, I don't want to go too grand on it, but, like, the history books may actually look back at these last 3 weeks. And it's harder to find a better example of, you know, how policy and how kind of actually communications with the public can affect, you know, markets, the parliamentary party, the general public,
pensions,
all in this, absolutely, all in the space of weeks. It is completely remarkable. It's really easy to kind of, you know, we've talked about backstage actually, you know, in terms of, like, the anonymous briefing side of stuff, and I think that ultimately people like to call, you know, backstabbers and all that kind of stuff. But these are politicians, and in the case of Gove and Shapps, they've been in the party for such a long time, and I do genuinely think they want what's best for their constituents, what's best for the party, and I think I would like to think they will support the government going forward. They've got their win here because they didn't think it was viable, and I would like to think they will support the government moving forward.
You really hope so, because I think as a voter, you want, no matter what party you're voting for, you want a strong and stable party. You want a party that's united. Yeah. And this doesn't inspire confidence, doesn't it? It's a knee-jerk, screeching U-turn influenced by other people in the party, public opinion, obviously, as well, and what the media is saying. And I don't actually want a government that's run on what the media are saying and political infighting. I want a government that's run for what's best for us, for the voters.
That's a really good point. And actually, that was a criticism that has been levelled at previous governments, that they kind of do run their policy off the back of Twitter and, what's a bit popular that week, and there is an argument for actually kind of rejecting that school of thought.
Except, of course, that increasingly, and a lot of it is down to social media and the papers, is that, of course, that is what is influencing voters, and at the end of the day, they've got to win over the voters.
Yeah, no, completely. And, and as I said, MPs, if MPs will not go on TV and back policy, and if they won't sell something on the doorstep when they go back to their constituents the weekend, then it's dead. Simple as that.